Hello everyone, myself Rakhi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, ABS Engineering College, Ghaziabad, affiliated to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. Today in the lecture series of optical communication, we will have a discussion on optical source laser diode, and this is the second part of a laser diode topic. We have already discussed about the different mechanisms, what is meant by the laser diode, what is the working principle of the laser diode, and another thing which we have come across in the first part of the laser diode, that is Einstein relation. And in this section we are going to have a first population inversion, then we will take on optical feedback, then laser oscillation, numerical based on that, threshold condition for laser oscillation, and again numerical based on threshold condition of laser oscillation. So, what we have in this particular condition, we have under the condition of a thermal equilibrium, which is given by the Boltzmann distribution. The lower energy level E1 and upper energy level E2 have a different energy state, and the E1 and E2, and simultaneously it has a different atomic density. One is N1 and N2. About this we have discussed in the Einstein relation of the topic, which we have discussed in the previous previous lecture of the laser diode. So, in this case we have come across this N1 and this N2 plays a very important role in the energy transition, because when we talk about the transition from the lower energy state to the higher energy state, then also that is proportional to the N1, that is the density of atom in the lower energy state. And whenever we talk about the transition from higher energy state to the lower energy state, then also we have to, that is proportional to N2 density of atoms at the higher energy state. So, this N1 and N2 plays a very important role. So, what now comes the question, what is this N1 and N2? So, this N1 and N2 is basically population density. This is basically population density, and it is a very important condition for achieving the optical amplification. So, to achieve optical amplification is to create a non-equilibrium condition, because during the non-equilibrium condition only transition can take place. During equilibrium condition everything is in stable condition. So, to achieve for achieving optical amplification, we have to disturb the stability of the atoms first, and this can be achieved by disturbing the equilibrium condition of the E1 and E2, that is of the lower energy state and the higher energy state, such that the population of the upper energy level is greater than that of the lower energy. So, how we are disturbing the stability of an atom? By doing something that we are increasing the number of atoms in the higher energy state from the lower energy, that is we are creating this condition, that is N2 should be greater than N1, and this condition is known as the population inversion. Again I am repeating what is happening in the normal condition. Both the atoms at the lower energy state and the higher energy state should be same, that is N1 and N2 should be equal to same at the condition of equilibrium, but at the condition of equilibrium amplification process can't be possible. But our main motive of using the laser is what? We have to amplify the signal, we have to do the optical amplification, and this can be achieved only by creating a non-equilibrium condition. And one of the process to disturb the equilibrium condition and to create a non-equilibrium condition is to increase the density of atom at the higher energy state from the lower energy state, that is N2 should be made greater than N1, and this condition is known as the population inversion. And population inversion plays a very important role whenever we talk about the working of the laser diode. So, if you want to include laser this population inversion in the working principle of laser diode, that will also be entertained easily, because without this population inversion also the amplification process can't be occur in the case of a laser. So, here what you are seeing, that even at having a density of N1, N2 having a density of having a density of E2. So, what is we are seeing, that density at the lower energy state is greater than the energy density of atoms at the higher energy state. But if we want to have a population inversion and we want to have a optical amplification, now we have to increase the density of the atoms at the higher energy state. E2 की हमें density we have to increase it. E2 की N2 is greater than N1, and that is represented here. So, this condition is followed whenever we have we want to have a optical amplification. Now, optical feedback, as already discussed with you in the previous lecture of the laser diode, that in laser amplification is possible only by some process that is called the oscillation, and oscillation occurred whenever only when there is a feedback in a system. Again I am repeating, amplification again enhancement process occurs in the laser diode only by the process of oscillation, and oscillation occurs only when there exists a feedback in the system. So, we have to create a feedback in the system in the case of a laser. So, what is the optical feedback? Light amplification in the laser occur when a photon colliding with an atom in the excited energy state causes the stimulated emission of a second photon, and then both this photon release two or more, that is it is a continuation process. Once a photon excite the atom at the higher energy state, that is E2, to release a photon, and both of them are in same phase and form a coherent, but again this photon which is generated again excite the atom at the another atom at the higher energy state, and this is a continuous process, and one keeps on other and other keeps on other. Excitement is a continuation process. The continuing of this process effectively create a avalanche multiplication. You all already know, because this is a multiplication process. What is going on? This first stimulated signal provided by you, it excites a one atom and two photons are released. Again this photon excites one atom, two photons are released. So, from one we are saying that we are achieving 4. Multiplication takes place, and again same thing, from this one 2, from this one 2. This is called as the avalanche multiplication process, and when the electromagnetic wave associated with these photons are in phase, we can able to see that all these signals are in phase. So, and our photons are increasing, keeps on increasing. So, coherent signal is obtained, and also it is a highly coherent signal. To achieve this laser action, it is necessary to contain photon within the laser medium and maintaining the condition for coherence. This is accomplished, that means this can be accomplished by placing or forming mirror Mirror can be plane or curved at the either end of the amplifying medium. We have chosen one amplifying medium, and at either end of the amplifying medium we have provided the mirror. So, now see what this mirror is going to do. The optical cavity is formed is more analogous to an oscillator than an amplifier. This cavity which is formed now here is more similar to the analogous to the oscillator than the amplifier, as it provides positive feedback of the photon, positive feedback, strike and feedback occur, positive feedback by reflection at the mirror at either end of the cavity, reflection from the either end of the mirror, there will have a positive feedback, and whenever there is a positive feedback, there occurs the oscillation. Hence, the optical signal is fed back many times. So, this is a mirror here. So, the feedback process is in continuation many times while receiving amplification as it passes through the medium. This structure therefore acts as a Fabry-Perot resonator. So, what we are seeing here, that feedback is occurring inside a laser diode with the help of mirror, because mirror signal is striking and it is providing the positive feedback, and it occurs a number of time, and in the process it keeps on amplify the signals, and this structure is basically called as the Fabry-Perot structure. Let us have a look of this structure. This is the amplifying medium, this is the complete length of the laser which is represented as L, and from here we are getting the optical output, and from either end, from the both there is a mirror is constructed, and when a photon is strike, there is just a feedback. Now, laser oscillation. Since the laser structure forms a resonant cavity when sufficient population inversion exists in the amplifying medium of the radiation builds up and becomes established as a standing wave between the mirror. Already I have told you what is meant by the standing wave, because again I am repeating that for you. Signal is going from incident to receiving end, and some signal get transmitted and some get reflected. Now, first incident and the reflected signal combinedly form the standing wave. So, and what is going on here in the laser? Here exists a laser medium, lasing medium, which is responsible for the laser action, and this is the mirror. This standing wave exists only at a frequency for which the distance between the mirror is an integral number of half wavelength. So, for which now in this particular line it is showing at which frequency this standing wave exists. So, this standing wave exists only at frequency for which the distance between the mirror. So, what is the distance between the mirror? Distance between the mirror is L, is an integral number of a half wavelength. So, this standing wave occur only at that frequency, the frequency at which the distance between the mirror is an integral number of a wavelength. For example, if we take for example at frequency f, standing wave is occur. So, this at this frequency when we c by lambda we can write it. So, c by lambda, or we can say it is proportional to 1 by lambda. So, integral number, you know about the integral number. So, this length should be like this. So, here for achieving the standing wave condition, the L should be equal to lambda q upon 2n, where n is the refractive index of the amplifying medium. Already in the first unit of the optical communication we have studied about the refractive index. So, this refractive index plays a very important role in any sort of optical communication. Lambda is our emission wavelength, and q is an integer. So, at this particular length only standing wave formation takes place. Alternatively, discrete emission frequency R f are defined by this q f is equal to q c upon 2 n l. We have just lambda in the terms of a frequency. We see the velocity of light, the different frequency of oscillation within the laser cavity determine the various integer value of q, which constitute the resonance or mode. So, what the equation which we have received in the previous slide apply for the case when L is along the longitudinal axis of the structure. L is along, we have seen that at the both side there is a mirror, and L is this one in the case of a laser structure. So, this is along the longitudinal side. So, this is known as the longitudinal or axial mode, and this modes are separated by a frequency interval which is given by del f is equal to c upon 2 n l. The mode separation in terms of the free space wavelength, assuming del f should be very less than f, and f is equal to c by lambda, is given by del lambda equal to del lambda del f divided by f, by putting the values of f del square by c del f. What is the c? F is c by lambda. So, we have in the place of this f we have substituted c by lambda, that is why here the lambda square. Now, substituting the value of del f from this equation, we get the value of del lambda equal to lambda square upon 2 n l. So, we are taking the value of del f from this equation and substitute here, and we have received this value. So, what is del f? Frequency, the modes are separated by a frequency interval of del f. So, यहाँ we can call it as a in the terms of wavelength. Laser oscillation may also occur in the direction which is transverse to the axis. In the previous slide, we have talking about the longitudinal or the axial mode, but it also occurs in the transverse direction, transverse to the axis. This give rise to resonant mode, which are transverse to the direction of propagation. Waves are propagating in this, and now with this process we are getting modes in the direction which is transverse, and already you have known to you transverse means perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. Transverse means perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. This transverse electromagnetic mode which is created in the perpendicular direction to the propagation of wave are designated in a similar manner to the transverse modes in a waveguide. So, in the waveguide also the modes which exist is always in the transverse direction. We are talking about the TE mode, we are talking about the TM mode, that is transverse electric and transverse magnetic. We are talking every time we are talking about the modes in the transverse direction. So, the modes which are created here, the electromagnetic modes which are now created in the transverse direction are similar to the transverse mode of the waveguide. That is why you can able to see the diagrams of this wave is also in the same form. Optical cavity, waves, modes, TEM 00, TEM, if you recall the chapter unit 1, chapter 1 of this particular optical communication lectures, and that we have talking about the electromagnetic modes in the waveguide. At that section also we have come across the structure, and you can able to see that it is similar to that one. Now, let us do one numerical related to this modes. A ruby laser contains a crystal of length 4 centimeter, length is 4 centimeter with a refractive index of 1.78, L is equal to 4 centimeter, refractive index N 1.78, The peak emission wavelength from a device is, that is lambda is equal to 0.55 micrometer. Determine the number of longitudinal modes and their frequency separation. So, let us look at this formula, because now we are going to use this formula in solving this. Now, the number of longitudinal modes you can have from this, because q is an integer and it provides us the number of longitudinal modes. So, from that formula we have q is equal to 2 n L upon lambda. N is our refractive index, do not confuse it with the number, n is here refractive index, that is why q represents the number of longitudinal modes. 2 refractive index 1.78, L 4 centimeter, we are writing here in the terms of a meter, 0.04 meter, lambda 0.55 micrometer, 0.55 micrometer. Now, we are getting the number of modes as this. Now, frequency separation. The modes are separated by a frequency interval del f. So, you can have this formula, we can use that. So, del f is equal to what is given here, C upon 2 n L, C which is approximately equal to this only, 2 n L. So, this is our frequency separation of the modes, which is given by 2.1 gigahertz, and try to solve it on your own. Now, the threshold condition. So, whenever we talk about the threshold condition, what does it mean? Threshold is basically relate to a different distance, or when I talk about distance, for example, when I talk about threshold distance, that means system will start after reaching that particular distance, that is called the threshold condition. When we talk about the threshold voltage, in the case of any amplifier or any oscillator or any something input sources, when we talk about the threshold voltage, that means system will start only after reaching that particular voltage, which is known as the threshold voltage. So, threshold condition also exists for the laser oscillation. So, when we talk about the threshold condition, that means ki system will start after reaching that particular condition. So, let us see that is same in the case of a laser or not. It has been indicated that steady state condition for laser oscillation are achieved when the gain in the amplified medium exactly balances the total loss. Again I am repeating the lines for you. Steady state condition, the balance equilibrium condition can be, of course, can be achieved with the total losses is balanced by the total gain, where the gain balances the total loss. Hence, although population inversion between the energy level providing the laser transition, the population inversion is responsible for the laser transition, is necessary for oscillation to establish, it is not alone sufficient for lasing to be occur. Now, let us see how much how much conditions are required for laser action to be takes place. Previously, we have seen absorption is important, spontaneous emission is important, then we have seen stimulated emission is important, then comes what? Then we have seen population inversion is also important, and now comes threshold condition is also important, because this condition, population inversion, is not a sufficient condition for lasing action to occur. In addition to minimum or threshold gain within the amplifying medium must be attained. That is what is the another necessary condition? That is minimum or threshold condition has to be maintained. This threshold gain can be determined by considering the change in energy of a light beam as it passes through the amplifying. So, how can this be determined? By considering the change in energy as the light beam passes through the amplifying medium. For simplicity, all the losses except with those who transmission through the mirror may be inculcated into the single loss coefficient per unit length, that is given by this one. Again, we are assuming that amplifying medium occupies a length L as shown in the figure, completely filling the region between the two mirror. This L length completely fills the region between the two mirror whose reflectivities are given by R1 and R2. So, fractional loss on each round trip, what is the fractional loss? A fractional loss is given by R1 R2 exponential minus 2 alpha bar L. Furthermore, it is found that increase in the beam intensity can be increased by stimulated emission is exponential, and through which fractional gain is given by this one. Hence, we have this relation, and this is exponential, so it can be combined, and this is equal to 1 for the oscillation process to occur. And after solving, we are getting about the threshold gain, which is equal to alpha bar plus 1 by 2 L. L is our length of the lasing medium, ln 1 by R1 into R2, reflectivity of mirror 1, reflectivity of mirror 2. For laser action to be easily achieved, it is clear that the high threshold gain per unit length is required in order to balance the losses from the cavity. So, what is the threshold gain which is required? Threshold gain is high in the case of a laser action to takes place, because in this process we have to balance the losses with the amplification gain. Let us do a numerical based on this. An injection laser had an active cavity with loss of 30 per centimeter, and the reflectivity of each clipped laser face is 30%, that is R1 and R2 is equal to 30%. Determine the laser gain coefficient for the cavity when the length is 600 micrometer, L is equal to 600 micrometer. Now, putting the formula here we have as given in the equation that each of the laser facet is 30%, that is R1 and R2 both should be equal to 30%. That is why R1 R2 is equal to R. We have this formula, alpha, which is our loss, is given 30 per centimeter. So, we can directly put it here, 1 by L, L is given as the 600 micrometer. We have here now 30%, that is our R. So, threshold gain which here we get after solving this particular. The threshold condition per unit length is equivalent to the laser gain coefficient for the cavity, active cavity, which is equal to 50 per centimeter. So, here comes the end of a threshold condition for the. In the next section, we are to discuss about the types of laser, and the most important type of that is the injection laser, which will be discussed in the next class. Thank you for attending today's class.